how to stop saying or doing stuff you regret later, especially when you're angry, emotional, overwhelmed, or just bored. Sometimes the biggest messes in our lives don't come from major decisions. Sometimes they come from those tiny split-second moments where we just react. You yell, you buy something, you ghost someone, you text someone that you shouldn't. You eat an entire pizza when you weren't even hungry. This episode is for the people who overreact in the moment and regret it later. It's for the ones who say things they didn't mean or do things that feel good for maybe 4 seconds, then spiral after. And right after that little explosion, there is silence. And then that voice in your head goes, why did I just do that? That's not even me, right? If that's ever been you, welcome. You're not broken. You are human. We all have those moments where our emotions take the wheel and our logic is duct taped in the trunk. Today we are going to talk about how to get a handle on that impulsive behavior. So, how to get a handle of that? Not by pretending we are robots, not by shaming ourselves, but by actually understanding what's going on under the hood when we are emotional and learning some tools to slow down the reaction just enough to take back control. We are going to talk about why it happens, how to recognize it while it's happening, and what actually helps in the moment to pause, pivot, and protect your peace. Let's start with a question. Why is that we can give great advice to our friends, but when it is our own life, we suddenly have zero chill? Here's the truth. Your brain is not designed to make wise, calm, emotionally balanced decisions in the heat of the moment. It's designed for speed and survival, not logic. So when we feel threatened, frustrated, bored, or emotionally triggered, your nervous system basically hits the all systems go button and logic checks out. That's why when someone cuts you off in traffic, your first instinct isn't, oh yes, I shall respond mindfully. You get frustrated, right? And some people can even get really angry. And 5 seconds later, you're like, what was that? This is what happens when the amygdala, the part of your brain that handles emotions and threat detection, hijacks your behavior. It detects threats and pushes you to act fast. When you're sad, anxious, or even just emotionally overloaded, your brain is shouting, act now, say it, do it, fix it, escape it. Meanwhile, prefrontal cortex, the logical decision maker, the calm, reasonable part of your brain, is sitting in the corner. Like, bro, we didn't even think this through. Yeah, that's the prefrontal cortex. And in the moments of stress, it gets totally hijacked. Like tied up in the, back seat while your emotions hit the gas pedal. It's not about being weak-willed. It's about being human and unaware of how fast your body is trying to protect you with short-term relief. So impulsive reactions aren't just bad habits. They are literally built into how we are wired. But that also means they can be rewired. Let's talk about the 4 situations that set the stage for impulse reactions. These are big 4. First one, anger. This is the obvious one, right? Someone disrespects you, you feel cornered, your ego is bruised, and boom, you say something that burns bridges. You slam the door, you get petty, or you storm off, you say things you don't mean. Or you retaliate in a text, like you immediately want to unsend, right? You don't even feel like yourself when you're angry. That's because you're in fight or flight. You feel disrespected, misunderstood, or threatened. So you react fast and hot. And your nervous system is trying to defend you, like not help you communicate effectively, unfortunately. Second one, sadness or emotional overload. You are overwhelmed, so you numb out. Impulse buys, impulsively, like shop online at midnight after a long day, or eat half a cake while saying, I deserve this. Binge watching, texting people you shouldn't, like you reach out to someone toxic just because you feel lonely. No good. It's all trying to escape that inner discomfort. That's emotional impulsivity. You're not acting because you want to actually, you're acting to escape the discomfort you're feeling. 3, boredom. This one is sneaky. We don't think boredom is a big emotional state, but it totally is. It's often when your guard is down that you fall into rabbit holes. Next thing you know, you have both led lights you didn't need and DM'd your ex, because boredom leads to low dopamine and your brain will grab onto anything, even chaos, to make things feel interesting again. So what happens? You create drama, you scroll for hours, like you pick arguments, you say things that stir the pot just to feel something. Fourth one is fear, anxiety, and uncertainty. This one often shows up as avoidance. You ghost someone instead of having a hard conversation. You cancel plans last minute. You spiral instead of, like starting a task because your brain is yelling, what if you fail? So you avoid the task. You're trying to protect yourself, but you end up self-sabotaging. Sound familiar? These are all defense mechanisms your brain uses to avoid discomfort, even if it costs you later. The pattern here is simple. Emotions first, logic second. Here's the key. When you're in these states, you don't need more willpower. You need more awareness of what's happening and small built-in delays to stop the autopilot. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's get practical now. Here are some real-life tools to slow the reaction. How do you slow down in real time before you do or say something that leaves a dent? Here are tools that work in real life, not in some imaginary, perfectly regulated version of yourself. 1. Delay the reaction, even by 10 seconds. This sounds ridiculously simple, but it works. The next time you feel that urge, to yell, to send the angry text, to eat the entire bag of cookies, literally say to yourself, I can do this, but let me wait 10 seconds. That pause gives your prefrontal cortex time to come back online. You're not saying no forever, you're just saying not yet. Sometimes you might need 10 minutes depending on what type of a situation it is, of course. Like sometimes it's 10 seconds, sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes you need even a bit more time to delay that reaction. So depending on the situation. But this is really helpful. Secondly, make friction your best friend. If you always, rage text or impulse buy, add friction. For example, put a 60-second timer before sending texts or emails. Delete shopping apps or use focus mode during boredom hours. Keep a sticky note near your computer that says, pause. What is the feeling? Like something like that. You don't need perfect discipline. You just need to slow the moment enough to interrupt the pattern. So this is about that, interrupting the pattern. Okay, this brings us to 3. Interrupt the loop. Physically, use body-based regulation. Your body is faster than your brain. When your emotions are high, your body is flooded with energy. So the fastest way to reset your brain is to move your body. Splash cold water on your face, go outside for 3 minutes, like literally shake out your arms, do 10 jumping jacks, whatever works, like change your posture. If you're sitting, stand. If you're standing, walk. Like take 5 slow belly breaths, like in through the nose and out longer through the mouth. It might sound funny, but you're not doing it for fitness. You're doing it to break the emotional momentum. When you're impulsive, your nervous system is empty. You can't think your way out, but you can regulate your body. It's not about calming down, it's about shifting state so you're not reacting from pure adrenaline. 4. Name the emotion. Say out loud what you're feeling if you can. This one is simple but wildly underrated. When you're about to snap or spiral, say something like, I'm feeling really irritated right now, or I'm overwhelmed. You activate the part of your brain that processes, not just reacts. This activates the logical part of your brain. It's called affect labeling, and it's been shown to reduce emotional intensity. It helps turn down the emotional heat. It sounds cheesy, but it works better than trying to suppress or deny it, right? Yeah, try it the next time you want to yell, post, or storm off. Even whispering to yourself, I feel tense, I feel hurt. It's like pressure valve releasing some of that energy. And 5, have a plan for hot slates. Pre-decide your in case of emergency move. You need a plan for your emotionally activated self. The time to figure out how to react is not when you are already heated. Make a hot state plan for yourself. For example, if I'm angry, I'll go for a 5-minute walk before texting anyone. If I'm overwhelmed, I'll write in my notes app before venting to someone. When I want to shop impulsively, I wait 24 hours. If I still want it, okay. You are basically programming your future self for success. So future you will love this version of you. Let's bring this to real life. Let's paint a few familiar scenes. You get a passive-aggressive message from a coworker, let's say. Your fingers are ready to type a novel. So try the 10-second pause. Maybe write it in notes first. Wait till tomorrow to send. You'll probably rewrite the whole thing. Let's say you're sad and lonely at 11 p.m. You are halfway to texting someone you swore you would stop talking to. Ask, what am I really needing right now? Connection, comfort? Can I text a friend instead? What's something that suits me? You're bored, you scroll, you buy stuff. Then add one step of friction. Maybe remove the app, like that you used to buy things, turn off one-click checkout. Yeah, that friction sometimes really help. Future you will, thank you. You get cut off in traffic and you want to start an argument. Name the emotion. I feel disrespected. Take a breath, ask, is this worth carrying for the next hour? Another one. You just got criticized, even politely. You are ready to defend, deflect, dismiss. But what if you just said, that stung? I need a second. It's not about never reacting. It's about building that gap between trigger and reaction. Powerful people don't react fast. They pause. Pausing is strength. You're not your reactions, so let's land this. You're going to mess up sometimes. We all will. But emotional maturity isn't about being perfect. It's about shortening the gap between the impulse and the regret. And each time you catch yourself before reacting, each time you pause, each time you check in instead of checking out, you are not your reactions. You're the awareness behind them. And that awareness, that's your superpower. You're proving to yourself that you're not controlled by emotions. You're aware of them. And that, yes, that's real power. You start noticing your patterns sooner. You bounce back quicker. You forgive yourself faster. And eventually, you start making decisions that your future self is proud of. And eventually, you start making decisions that your future self is proud of, right? So the next time your fingers are itching to type something spicy or your brain screaming, buy it or send it, take a breath. Ask, what's this really about? your future self is rooting for you. Not only that, but also the next time you feel the urge to react, snap, buy, eat, ghost, just say, wait, let me check in first, and then decide. Your future self is watching, and they are cheering you on. Thanks for listening, and if this episode helped you, send it to a friend who lives in the impulse spiral sometimes. We all have that friend that always rage texts their ex or online shops when bored, right? And don't forget to give the video a like, and I will see you in the next one.